how do we know who's an artist? For most of my life, that's how I describe myself, an artist. That made sense when I played classical guitar concerts, when I played in the National Youth Symphony or sang in the choir. Now I work in business. And when I think about it, yes, we do all the analysis, we crunch the numbers, and we present the results. But oftentimes, what makes the difference between a good or bad business outcome, it's all about the story. And in essence, all of art is storytelling. This is why, for this project, I would like to tell you a story, but one without PowerPoint or spreadsheets, with music. This is a story about a dream that, after hundreds of years, is still very much alive and constantly evolving. Throughout my years as a concert artist, manager, promoter, whenever I said the words classical guitar, I got reactions of both confusion and surprise. While older people remember Segovia, others relied on popular culture references. Do you mean like Coco? Is it like flamenco? Do you write your own songs? Do you have a band? Be as it may, what is absolutely clear is that this aspect of such a popular instrument is still pretty much unknown today. The dream that I'm talking about here is this idea that the most popular instrument in the world, the guitar, can have and should have a place in this aristocratic, intellectual, and why not even elite world of classical music. In many ways, it's almost like the underdog story in the history of classical music, if there ever was one. The Spanish guitar, as we know it, really only has existed for a little over 100 years. Yet in its 300 plus years of evolution, there's been a number of characters that have dedicated their lives to carve a place for this instrument in classical music. Whenever I think of a piece like Un sueño en la floresta, I can almost imagine figures like Fernando Sor, Giuliani, Aguado, Tárrega, dreaming about being respected musicians in their own communities and times. Yet for all the success they've had, their efforts and their compositions that attempted to be classical were still seen as curiosities. And in many ways, the guitar, in their time, remained a marginalized instrument in academia. Fast forward to 1920s and 30s. And now imagine there's a time in which a classical guitarist is as known to the world as Beyoncé. in which the top orchestras and conductors are engaging the top artists, and that universities and conservatories en masse start to open guitar programs and further its education. And when you think about it, in many ways, classical guitar was like the unicorn of classical music. All of this success was achieved in great measure by the life and work of Andrés Segovia. And while there's been a lot written about him, what is undeniable is that there is a before and after in the history of this instrument, or this manifestation, because of him. Now, together with Ida Presti and other of the main guitarists of the early 20th century, they were able to catalyze and improve the way that the guitar was presented, using new nylon strings, leveraging new technology, being part of the rise of radio and television, and all of this during a time in which classical music was arguably at its most global. The reality today is that there are many more classical guitarists than orchestras, venues, and concert series are able to present in the classical music industry. In spite of it being a respected profession in universities and in academia in general, the guitar, sadly, the classical guitar, remains much less known today than it probably was 50 years ago. That's why I wanted to make this album. This album is for all of those brave souls who have fallen in love or want to fall in love with this aspect of the guitar. It really is a story about the community's resilience, of the dreams of great artists, and of reinvention. A little bit like my own story. While the classical guitar and the guitar community continues to reinvent itself and find ways to make this dream come true, I've been happy to see that there's been a growing interest in the classical music industry to embrace this instrument in recent years. I feel this is long overdue. That's why I would like to encourage orchestras, managers, venues to take a look at this instrument, at the classical manifestation of it, at the students in your conservatories, in the music schools that are embracing it, and see their potential. The audience already loves the guitar. Use it. Use this classical manifestation of it to further your own goals and grow your own community. Chances are there's already a big guitar base, classical guitar fan base in your city, in your town, in your community. As for me, I'll continue to explore ways to share interesting stories and have my little stake in this dream of the classical guitar. As for what the dream of Reason is, that's for you to find out.